I'm alive. Welcome back for another stream. I hope you're all well, and thanks for being here on this Thursday evening. How's everyone doing today? Appreciate you all being here. We've got Sponchy in the chat. Marcel's here. Ayush, good to have you all here. Thanks for tuning in. I thought I'd do a double Gameweek 26 stream today, as well as the deadline stream. I will be doing both, the Saturday stream as well, which gives everyone plenty of time to absorb the information and ask questions and whatnot. So get your questions in the chat. I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. Loads to talk about. We've got the news roundup to go through. We've got the kings of the game week, the scout selection, the most transferred players. We've got the double game week fixtures, of course. We've got the predicted points, postponements. Loads to discuss. So thank you so much for being here. We've got 518 tuned in already. Huge turnout. Good to see quite a few members in the chat as well. Torgir, Domster, Rapanjan, Tyler. Good to see you all here. Super duper. Loads of members showing up tonight. Good to have you all here. Thanks for being here. Really excited for this. The double game week 26. It's the Sean Diesel says, just be honest, you were bored. Alright, yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, I was bored. It sounded better when I said what I said before though, right? Everyone's got loads of time to ask questions, absorb the information, but maybe it's just I was a bit bored tonight. Had nothing to do. But the other good thing is as soon as this stream ends, the roundup has been edited and completed, so literally as soon as this stream finishes, probably about 7 o'clock, the roundup will be up as well for everyone to watch. It's a long one this week, about an 8-minute vid, the roundup. So that's going to drop as well immediately after the stream finishes. Michael says, hi Focal. Hi Michael. Thanks for the donation to say hi. You don't have to donate to say hi, you can just say hi in the chat and I'll say hi back. Niall says, much love to Niall. How we doing? Srijif says, Jota question mark, as does Hades. So let's do the news roundup, which does include a certain Diogo Jota. So we'll start with that. Everton first, and the news from today's press conference is that Gray won't make it this weekend. So those who have Gray, looks like an obvious sell. Obviously he picked up that injury, missed the last game, and he's out for this weekend as well. Some good Burnley news. I know some people were looking at Weghorst, and of course he did have that injury, but Dice shares, we expected him to be okay. He has trained a light session today, but I think he will be fine. So that's good news for those looking for a forward to bring into their team. It is a tough double for Burnley. They've got Brighton and Tottenham, I think, is their double. So it's not the best double for Burnley, but of course they have the double in 27 as well. So he could be an option if you're looking for a forward. Oops, I almost put it on the Fulham transition there. Fulham no longer in the Prem. Sorry, Fulham. I probably need to update this. So some Diogo Jota news. A scan will determine whether Jota has suffered any ligament damage, as reported by The Athletic. He was substituted at half-time in the Champions League, and it's a reported ankle ligament injury. Anfield Watch have reported about an hour ago, actually, that he's facing a race to be fit for the League Cup final. Liverpool are not absolutely ruling him out, but he had a scan in Milan this morning, and he's wearing a protective boot. Really worrying news that, because the fact they're saying they're not ruling him out of the Cup final leads me to believe he's going to miss the double game week entirely. So, not great news for those of us who have Diogo Jota, and I'm one of those, and I'm almost certainly going to be selling him. A little bit of news from Man United as well is that Cavani was spotted back in training. He may not necessarily be back in time for the Leeds game, but I think the important thing to note here is that he is back in training, and that could affect Cristiano Ronaldo's minutes. So I think Ronaldo's a sell, considering how expensive he is, and perhaps you could look at someone like Harry Kane as an easy downgrade, or not even a downgrade, similar price range. Mr. Rockpop has also donated to say hi Focal. Hi Mr. Rockpop, thank you. Thanks for the donation. Sujan says Cavani was doing press-ups yesterday. There we go. So yeah, Diogo Jota looks like he's going to miss the double game week annoyingly. May miss the cup final as well. And then of course Liverpool have the blank in game week 27. So I think Diogo Jota is a sell, I hate to say. And there's not a great number of options really available to us. Rafinha has the double, but it's not a great double game week. I think Saka's a really strong option. Arsenal have a very, very good double game week. Both games at home. First against Brentford and then against Wolves. So I think Saka, you can't go wrong with him. But of course with the Arsenal players, you have to be conscious that they blank in 27. So you need to look at your team and see if you can navigate blank game week 27 or not. I think if you can find the funds, someone like Human Sun's a great pick as well. In my case, my original plan was I was going to be selling Fernandes for Son, but I think I'm actually going to end up keeping Fernandes now, which I don't mind. I'm more than happy to have him. I think if anything, he's turning into a differential because everyone's selling him, which we'll talk about more later when we look at the most transfer players. A-Man says Jota bench for Dennis. I think if you've got him, you can start him, but I imagine he's going to miss the double entirely, and we see, well, probably Firmino starting up top. He's their other option. Maybe Diaz and Mane rotate on the left. Hopefully. Of course, Salah's going to play both in the double. Of course he is, right? What's everyone doing in terms of chips and captaincy this game week? Are you guys going triple captain or bench boost? Or free hitting or wild carding? And are you going Salah? Are you going Trent or perhaps another player? We'll have a look at the captain poll results a bit later on the stream from the Discord. But I think it's pretty obvious that most people are going for Salah. James says Jota to Robbo, or will he get rested with Tsimikas? This is a really tough one as well. So I was looking at Robertson because he's a really good option in the defence as well. But it's just that question, does he get rotated for one game with Tsimikas? And I do wonder if perhaps the Leeds game, Robertson gets a rest or gets benched and Tsimikas comes in for one game. Because Tsimikas is brilliant. He's been great during those few opportunities he's had this season. So I think he's a very capable backup, which Liverpool didn't have until this season. So I think Tsimikas might get a game, maybe that Leeds game. And then, of course, Liverpool blank in 27 because they've got the League Cup final. So maybe that would be Klopp's intention to rotate a little bit for the Leeds game so everyone's fresh for the Cup final. But we'll see. Tyler's going for a free hit. He's got a full double game week 11 on the free hit. Worried about missing out on the triple captaincy Salah. I think on a free hit, you'll probably make up for what you miss out there. And obviously you go for Captain Salah anyway. So basically, you just get double his points instead of triple. So you miss out on a little bit of a chunk of his points. But instead, you've got 11 players playing twice, which is massive. Cameron asks, Foden to Rafinha, planning for game week 30 as no free hit him. I don't hate Foden to Rafinha, but it is... The thing about Rafinha is it's not a great double game week. I do think he's a good option regardless, and he doesn't blank in 30. But what worries me is last game he came off at half-time. And I presumed it was an injury when I saw that he'd come off at half-time. Sorry, I thought Teddy wanted to come on. Not now, Ted. I'm streaming. Yeah, I thought he was injured, but it was actually tactical, Bielsa said, which is worrying. Rafa's having a bad game, but they really need him at his best for any hope of staying up. So, difficult one to recommend Rafinha, in honesty. I don't think he's the best option. If you're preparing for 30, I would look at Saka instead, who also is guaranteed not to blank in Game Week 30. Hope that helps. Borley says, I'm wildcarding this week and free hit next. Wildcard draft. I can attempt to do a wildcard draft, yeah. Let's see. I've actually not paid too much attention in terms of how I would shape my wildcard, but I suppose in goal, you'd want to have... If you can afford it, you could capitalise on the 2 double game weeks. Teddy, not now, mate. Sorry. Right, so what we're doing a wildcard draft. So I definitely would have Trent. Would I have Robertson or would I have Van Dijk? That's the question. I think I'd go Robertson and gamble on it. I'd get rid of Jota, Rafinha. I'd have Son in midfield. Up top's a tricky one as well. You said you're planning to free hit in 27, right? So you can afford to have Lacazette. I think I'd have Saka in here as well because you'll free hit him. I think I'd have Brozier as well. He's a great option and there's a chance he doesn't blank in 30. He's the least likely to blank in 30, depending on the FA Cup results. Rafinha, Salah, Son. Are there any players I'm forgetting here? Cancelo I think's fine to keep. Who would I have in defence? So this game we could start Trent, Robbo, Cancelo, Rafinha, Salah, Son, Saka. We've got 9.4 to spend. Any recommendations? Andy says, hey Teddy. Yeah, Teddy's just such a troll. I gave him a chew right before the stream started to keep him busy, but I think he smashed through it and now he's interrupting again. I would keep Bowen despite his single game week. So you could probably afford to bench Brozier, start Bowen even though he's got the single game week. Rafinha's the tricky one. So tripled up on Arsenal, so you can't have Tierney. Tom Anesta says no Chelsea. Yeah, that's a good one. You could have Reece James in here. You're taking a punt on the fact that Chelsea might get the double in 28, which may or may not happen, but Chelsea do have a couple of postponements. A few people say Ait-Nouri. Wolves defender's a good shout. Yeah, but can we trust Ait-Nouri to start both, or should we go for someone a bit safer, like Kilman, or Saiss, or Cody? What worries me is Ait-Nouri got rotated for one game. It was in Gameweek 24, the Arsenal game. He came off the bench instead, and it was Marcel who started. Tierney or Jimenez? Yeah, you could have Jimenez instead of King. I suppose Jimenez is a good shout if you're preparing for Gameweek 30, unless you plan to free hit then as well. But we've spent too much. We've got 1.6 mil in the bank, so we'd have to downgrade somewhere. I think it'd be there or thereabouts. Maybe you could downgrade Pope to a cheaper keeper. You could go for perhaps Sanchez. Oh, Weghorst is a good shout. But I think you'd have to get rid of Jimenez instead. So something like that, and you'd have 9.5 to spend on 2 defenders. Something like that if I was on a wild card, but to be honest I haven't put too much thought into it. But I think something like that gives you loads of double game week players. Maybe you could have someone like Ben Mee, just so you got a nice... Sorry, no, you're free hitting in 27, aren't you? So you wouldn't be worried about Ben Mee. Maybe someone like Reece James. 2 cheap defenders that you could get for 9.5 mil. Hopefully that helps, but that's a very quick draft. Michael says, what do you think about Firmino? He gets these random hauls when you least expect it. I was thinking the exact same earlier. That's the thing about Firmino. He comes up with these hauls out of nowhere. Not too long ago, I think he got a hat-trick, didn't he? I forget who it was against. And he does, he comes up with these random hauls, but it's a bit risky, really, because he is a massive rotation risk with Jota. It looks likely that he plays both games in the double, but maybe he does still come off early if Liverpool have got, you know, a comfortable lead in one of their games. So I don't think I'd go for Firmino personally, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does haul in this double. But yeah, the problem is you probably want to get rid of him by the time Liverpool play again in game week 28. True Vandela says getting in Salah, Weghorst and Ramsdale for a -8, but in that case only 2 of Liverpool players because Jota's out. Or Salah, Van Dijk and Ramsdale for a -8. So basically you're asking Weghorst or Van Dijk. Weghorst or Van Dijk. I think I would prefer Van Dijk just about. I think he's safe for the double. So I think Van Dijk just edges it, and maybe you'd have a way to get Weghorst next game week instead rather than this. I think it's not a great game week to bring in Weghorst. He's just back in training. It's not a good double for Burnley, sorry, but they've got a good double in 27, so maybe you could look to do the Van Dijk move and then Weghorst in 27 instead. Let's take a quick look at the Kings of the game week, which are as follows. It was Raheem Sterling who joined the Kings in game week 25 with his 18-pointer. For anyone on our Discord, don't forget to get your guesses in. We've got a dedicated channel for guessing who the King of the game week is. No one got Sterling, surprisingly. 5th Man City player to join the Kings this season. Who's going to be the King this game week, though? I think I'll crack open the Pepsi Max. Sujin says Cornet for Jota. Cornet maybe is an interesting one, but again, like I said, it's not a great double game week for Burnley. So I personally would avoid, and I'd look at a Burnley player in 27 instead, rather than now. So let's have a look at the scout selection for game week 26, and it's a very, very differential scout selection. I'll just read it out for any audio listeners, but let me know in the chat what you think of their picks this game week. They've got Pope in goal, and then the back 3 is Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's vice-captain, Gabriel from Arsenal, Saiss from Wolves, Midfield 5 is Salah captain, Mane, Zaha, Saka, Cornet, and then up top it's Lacazette and Jimenez. Blues FPL says 5 Villa players. Yeah, really oddly, I guess it's just a big coincidence, but there's 5 Villa players that have made the Kings before, which I think is the joint most of Man City. I don't think you can draw too much of a conclusion, on who's making the Kings of the Gameweek most, but it's interesting. Villa of all the teams to make it that many times. Super says start Cancelo or Brozier. I would start Cancelo. I think Cancelo's shown us many times this season why we shouldn't be benching him regardless of opponent. He's got double-digit points against Chelsea twice, I believe, and he's also got double-digit points against Man United. So it's a single game week, so I'd start him regardless. I'm planning to. And he says no Spurs is surprising. No Spurs players either. I suppose Kane started the season very badly, so it's not a surprise, but Son not making it is surprising. And players like Lucas Moura are so streaky that they randomly will get a huge haul here and there, but no Spurs players. Tiago says, hi Focal, can you say hi to the Portugal fans? We're in the... Oh, it's gone off the screen. We're on the Monsanto League. Wish you all the best. Best FPL YouTuber. Appreciate that, Tiago. Thank you. And shout out to all the Portugal fans. Appreciate that. Where's everyone tuned in from tonight? Whereabouts in the world is everyone watching from? Tag me in a tweet of where you're watching from and take a photo of it, and I'll retweet it. I quite enjoy seeing photos of where people are watching from. People's different setups and wherever it is in the world they are. John Scott says, "What are you doing?" I assume you mean FPL wise. And my plan is now to sell Jota for Saka and probably Dawson for Van Dijk. So it keeps me tripled up on Liverpool, and it gives me an extra Arsenal player. I really like the look of Saka, but it does leave me a bit exposed in 27, but I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing. We've got people watching from Serbia, South Africa, Nigeria, Ireland, London, Lad, Florida, Norway, Sweden, Bangladesh, Ghana, Bahrain, India. I'm not reading Aisha's message. Yorkshire, South London, Sweden, King's Landing. Shout out to anyone watching from King's Landing. I heard there's poor Wi-Fi in King's Landing, but fair play if you found a good spot. Thailand, Malaysia, Texas. Very global stream. Great to have so many people here. Sierra Leone, Iraq, Syria, India, Scotland, Algeria, all the way from Yemen, Finland, Australia. Truly global stream. Amazing. So back on the topic then of these double game weeks. 8 teams have the double. How many double game week players do you guys have? Tim says Staines. Less glamorous, but fair enough. Staines. Got a friend who used to live in Staines. The Republic of Swindon. Mo Omar's on the Eurostar at the moment. Yeah, tag me in a tweet. Take a photo of where you're watching from. I'd love to see. It's fascinating to me that people watch from all over the world. I get caught up in my bubble here, living in England. So yeah, these are the double game week fixtures. It's Arsenal who have Burnley and Wolves. Burnley have got Brighton and Tottenham. Palace have got Chelsea and Watford. Leeds have Man United and Liverpool. Liverpool have Norwich and Leeds. Spurs have Man City and Burnley. Watford have Villa and Crystal Palace. And Wolves have Leicester and Arsenal. Sufi's got 6 double game week players. Cezanne and Kelby have 9. So does 3 Rag. So does Super Duper. Ash can get to 9 with a -4. Wow, a lot of you have got more double game week players than me. MJ says, please let's like the stream. Yeah, you heard MJ. If you are enjoying the stream so far, do hit like on it. Really, really appreciate it. The YouTube algorithm loves likes, so I really would appreciate it if you did. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Barca are losing 1-0. Who are Barca playing tonight? I've not paid a great deal of attention to La Liga. How's Xavi been doing? I know it's he took on a very difficult position, especially after the departure of Messi. It's kind of like a new era. It's almost like when Fergie finally left Man United. Different because it was Messi leaving Barca and Fergie leaving Man United, but it's like the departure of a legend, isn't it? So it's incredibly hard to take over from there. Fizzo Luke says, would you bench boost this week if you could, or save for 30? 30 is a blank game week, so you certainly don't want to use it in game week 30. Maybe you mean a later game week like 36, which could be a big double. So in terms of whether I bench boost this week, really what it comes down to is, if you look at your bench, do you think it will outscore Salah? If you don't, then you go triple captain Salah and get those extra chunk of points off Salah. Because obviously on a bench boost you can still captain Salah. You just miss the extra chunk of points that Salah gets you. So really that's what it comes down to, and it's totally team dependent and bench dependent. So I would just look at your bench and perhaps look at the predicted points, which will be on the Roundup video that drops immediately after this stream, and just compare, does my bench outscore Salah's predicted points? Chintan says, Pope Reguilon, Trent Cancelo, Gallagher Bowen, Jota, Bruno, Antonio, DCL, Watkins, David De Gea, Cash, Gray, Liver on the bench, 2 free transfers, and Love from India. 2 free transfers, so you don't have Salah? Your midfield's Jota, Bruno, Bowen. So yeah, Salah has to come in. It's just where do you get to Salah from? Ideally, I need to know how much you got on the bench as well, because if you can do it in one move, then you go Bruno to Salah. But you do have Jota as well, which is a problem. Perhaps you could do Jota to Saka and Bruno to Salah. That gives you probably an extra 3 fixtures, because Jota might miss both of the doubles. Saka's got a double. Salah's got the double. Hopefully he plays in both of the double. Bruno plays once. That's probably what I would do. Rest of your team looks okay. Gray's a problem because he's going to miss the game. Hopefully you've got a free hit left. I think you're going to have to free hit in 27. Looking at your team, you've got Gray, who might be back, might not be. Livramento may not be starting. Do have a few problems in your team there, so hopefully you've got the free hit. I think with that team you have to free hit. Barca are playing Napoli. In the Europa League, of course. Barca in the Europa League. Super says you need mods. Do I? We've got 1 or 2, but I guess they're not here tonight. They took the night off. I didn't see what message I missed there, but yeah, I'll happily add some more mods. Super, if you're interested, drop me a DM on Discord. Joe says, what to do with the Burnley striker, the tall one? I think it's Weghorst, he's the tall one. What to do with him? Do you own him, or are you looking to bring him in? It's a tough double game week for Burnley, so I think you don't bring him in this game week unless you desperately need a forward. I think you can bring him in 27 instead when Burnley have a better double. Rangers are beating Dortmund 2-0. Are you joking? Unbelievable. Ayush says make sponsors mod. Can you imagine what would happen to the chat if that happened? Right, let's have a look at the most transferred in players. And I think you can all guess who's top. It is Mo Salah. 623,000 have brought in Salah at the time of this stream right now. Second is actually Saka, 221,000. This could go up substantially if Jota does miss the double, because I think Saka's in that sweet spot price range and he looks a good option for the double. So people could sell Jota for Saka. That's what I'm planning on doing if Jota is out for the double. Broge is actually third, despite having the single game week. Likewise Bowen. I can fully appreciate why they're here though. They're both great enablers and they have good fixtures. Not just this game week, but beyond that. Jimenez is actually up there as well. Has the double, but hasn't been much of an option this season really. I know he got a goal recently. Coutinho, Ramsdale, Gabriel, Son, lots of double game week players here. Jota's been brought in by 87,000 managers. Again, the recurring theme on all these streams and the roundup videos and whatnot is you need to save your transfers for as late as possible, if you can. I think it's too much of a risk to be making early transfers. I know COVID's less of a problem now, but I think as always it's common sense to make your transfers last minute. Kerem has also donated, but there's no message, but thank you for that. I appreciate that, Kerem. Thank you so much for the donation. And the most transferred out players. Top is Bruno Fernandes, who's been sold by 231,000, but followed very closely by De Bruyne, 227,000. You imagine those top two are there because of people looking for a route to Salah, and those two give those managers an easy route to Salah. Gallagher's up there as well. Obviously, he has the single game week, not the double, because he's ineligible to play Chelsea. Ronaldo's up there, almost 200,000 have sold him. Jota's here as well. So Jota's on the most transferred in, and he's also on the most transferred out. 188,000 have sold Jota. Chris FPL says, are Derby County staying up? Wayne Rooney. Where are they at the moment? I heard he's been doing an incredible job, and he even managed to get them off rock bottom despite the heavy points deduction. I think Derby were deducted 21 points, and they are 23rd out of 24 teams. Oh, it'd be incredible if he does it. They'd have to put a statue up for Rooney if he does it. Here's how the Championship looks. We don't really look at the Championship ever, but we'll look at it very briefly. Fulham are top. In fact, this is ridiculous. So Fulham are top, and Mitrovic is on 31 goals and 7 assists. And Fulham have played 30 games. Ridiculous. And you just know when they come up next season, he's going to be a poor FPL asset, as he always has been when he's been in the Premier League. Perhaps. Historically, he's been a bad pick anyway, Mitrovic. I think I had him last season. I think he started at 6 mil, and he was so poor. I think he scored one penalty, but that was like his only return for about 5 or 6 game weeks. But Derby are 23rd, 21 point deduction they had, and they're not rock bottom. Unbelievable job by Rooney. Glad that he's turned into a great manager. I'd never thought he'd be the type, to be honest with you, but fair play Rooney. Sports Edit says Foden or Saka. Saka. Abdullah says, thoughts on Antonio, sell or keep? It depends who your other strikers are, but I think you can definitely make the case for selling him for a double game week striker. It's not a bad fixture for Newcastle against for West Ham, against Newcastle at home. But I think you can make the case for selling him for a double game week striker. Just checking if anyone did tag me in a pic or not of where they're watching from. Got one from Marcus Bateman. It's not a picture from the stream, but from I don't even know what that is. Some kind of dodgy roundabout. Oh, here we go. We've got one. We've got one from FPL Hackon. There he is. That's where he's watching from. Oh, he's dual screening it as well. Good setup. Love it. Which game's he watching? He's watching Dortmund v Rangers, I think that is. From Norway. Let's retweet that. Feel free to tag me in others, and I will retweet. Great to see where people are tuned in from around the world. Kerem has donated again, but also no message. Thank you, Kerem. Appreciate that very much. If you meant to add a message, then send it in chat, and I'll do my best to spot it. Denin says, what about my stickers? Harry Kane and Firmino. Good. Strikers, do you mean? Harry Kane and Firmino. Harry Kane I like for the double. Firmino not so much. I think Firmino could do well in this double game week, but he's basically a 1 week move, because by the game week 28, I imagine Jota could be back, so then Firmino is already a problem in your team, so he's not a long-term pick. If you plan to wildcard in 27 or 28, then you could make the case, but other than that, no. Harry Kane, yeah, I don't mind Harry Kane. Tough first game for Spurs against Man City away, but the second is Burnley. And then, of course, Spurs have Leeds in 27, where Kane is a very good captain option. Thank you so much as well to Xander for becoming a fplfocal member. Well, I can't remember what we kept calling it. Is it Focalite? If anyone's interested, there's links in the description. The other option is to be a patron. It's the same thing, same cost. There's only one tier. And it gets early access to my videos and a private channel on the Discord where I'll give you team feedback. Unlimited team feedback by me. So, absolute bargain. Samir says, hey Focal, do you think I can triple captain Trent Alexander-Arnold? I think you can, so this is a good opportunity to look at the predicted points. I think you can, but obviously the concern is you're betting against Salah, and that's risky in my opinion. So these are the predicted points for double game week 26, and Salah is well out in front with 18.64 predicted points. Second is Trent, so if I was going to consider anyone other than Salah, it would be Trent, and I think he's a great option in isolation. But you are betting against Salah, which is a huge risk, so I think you have to bear that in mind. Because obviously if Salah goes on to haul and Trent doesn't score as high, then it's going to be a huge red arrow, because I expect Salah's effective ownership is going to be over 200%. So if you just own him and don't captain him, then he's 100% owned for you. So if Salah goes and gets, say, 15 points and you don't have him captained, then that means he gets 15 points against you if he's 200% owned. Mane's up there as well, Robertson. The Liverpool gang dominate the top of the predicted points. A few Arsenal names up here as well: Lacazette, Tierney, Gabriel, Saka. Heung-min Son just about makes it, as does Kane. And Zaha, interesting one. Not seen him talked about much, but Zaha makes it. A quick look at the clean sheet odds as well, which are as follows. And this is from checkthechance.com, and what they've done here is they aggregated the chances together across both games. So Liverpool have a 77% chance of keeping a clean sheet in either game. Second, close behind, is Arsenal, 75% chance. And then the rest of the pack are way behind. Man City are actually third, even though they've got a single game week for the Tottenham game. Wolves, Crystal Palace, Tottenham. Rock bottom is Norwich, 5.5% chance of keeping a clean sheet for their trip to Anfield this game week. Just behind them is Newcastle, who travel to West Ham this game week. Thanks everyone that has tuned in so far. We've got 1,300 tuned in. Unbelievable turnout for a Thursday night. If you're enjoying the stream so far, do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Really appreciate it. Keep the questions coming. Mickey says, is Bowen injured? I've heard nothing of the sort, unless there's been some news since we went live. But I've not heard anything on Bowen. He's not flagged, so I don't think so. Daryl says, what are you planning to do with Rafinha? I'm keeping hold of Rafinha. I've got more pressing moves to make, to be honest with you, so Rafinha stays. If he plays both games, gets to 90, then I think he's a decent option, despite the fixtures. Bit worrying that he came off at half-time last game, though. Josh says, Evening Oscar, happy Friday from 5 AM in Australia. Happy Friday, Josh. 5 AM in Australia. Have you stayed up all night, Josh? Or are you up early? A shout out to anyone tuned in from a very late time zone. Appreciate that very much. Likewise, shout out to anyone tuned in from the far west, where I suppose it could be the morning there. Any Americans in the chat? Welly Santos says Son or Bruno. So the problem with Bruno is I actually think he does well against Leeds. It's a single game week, but it's against Leeds, who haven't kept a clean sheet since game week 14. And over that period, they've conceded just under 3 goals on average per game, which is significant. That's a lot of goals they're conceding. Might be a little bit skewed by Man City's. I think it was 7-0 they beat Leeds, but they're conceding a lot. Phillips is a huge miss in their midfield. So I wouldn't be surprised if Fernandes does well. I wouldn't be looking to bring him in, certainly not. But I can understand people that are looking to sell Fernandes for Son. I think maybe they're about even over the next 2. Don't know whether Spurs get much out of the City game. Got some people tuning in from Brooklyn, 1 AM in Vietnam, North Carolina, Florida. 10:30 at night in Dubai, says Niall. Good to see so many members in the chat tonight. Appreciate that very much. Jake says, what do you think about a Jota to Luis Diaz straight swap? I don't think so. Diaz is really competing with Mane down the left wing. That's where I think he was signed as competition for that left wing spot. Jota and Firmino are competing for striker. And then the right wing is basically Salah's. So I don't like the Diaz transfer personally. We could easily see Mane start one or both games. Maybe Diaz starts one, but I wouldn't be looking to bring in Diaz personally. I think it's not worth the risk. If anything, you'd make the argument for Firmino, because Jota's the one competing with Firmino, so Firmino looks more assured for minutes, but I don't think I'd be tempted by Firmino either, because they blank in 27, which means there is a chance that it's just one game week that his minutes are assured, if that makes any sense. Niall says, for anyone who's not a member, I would recommend it. Best fantasy football decision I made all season. I didn't pay him to say that, but thank you, Niall. I appreciate that. Honestly, though, I'm on the Discord every day answering questions. No question is missed by the members. So that's what you get, and it's like £2.99. Absolute bargain, right? No brainer. I made it 39 minutes into the stream without saying no brainer, but I do say it too much, I've been told. Amil says, what do we think of Cornet, Oscar? Cornet, I don't think I'd be bringing him in for this game week. I think there's better options. I like the look of Saka more. Cornet, I think it's a good option to bring in 27 instead. I may consider it for 27, but I don't think this is the game week because their double is Brighton and Tottenham, which is a tough double game for Burnley. And they're not blowing teams away. In fact, they're way down towards the bottom in terms of expected goals, so I don't think the Burnley assets are really much of an option this game week. 27 you can make the case because teams are blanking, whereas Burnley double. It's a blank and double game week, but I'm not looking at Burnley assets for this one. Dennis says, I think Firmino is going to start as a striker. I think he is as well, and I think he's a great option in isolation this game week, but it's just such a short-term move because I imagine Jota's going to be back. Unless we get bad news that Jota's out for a long time, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I imagine it's going to be a few weeks. Therefore, Jota could be back for Game Week 28. So if you don't plan to wildcard in 28, then I wouldn't be looking at Firmino personally, because it's just such a short-term move, if that makes sense. You'll get around to Game Week 28. We might have an Arsenal and Chelsea double game week announced by then, for all we know. And you're going to have much more pressing moves to make. The last thing you want to be doing is dealing with Firmino not even starting, if that makes sense. But since I touched upon the double game weeks there, let's have a look at that. So this is a graphic I made, which is all the postponements per team, or in other words, the future double game weeks to come this season. And Arsenal, Everton and Leicester are the three teams that have that have three postponements, so they're going to have three guaranteed double game weeks. Aston Villa, Burnley, Chelsea, Newcastle and Spurs have two, so loads of double game weeks to come. Brentford, Man City, Man United and West Ham are the only teams currently without any postponements. So there's going to be so many double game weeks to come. But we're not done yet. There's going to be more. So this is a graphic from Ben Crellin, who I'm sure you all know. And what this graphic is he's basically given the odds of teams having a blank in Game Week 30. The reason they will have blanks in Game Week 30 is because the FA Cup clashes with round 6 of the FA Cup. So there's some games to be played first. For example, Man City play, I think it's Peterborough. Man City have a 93.47% chance of beating them. So therefore, there's a 93.47% chance of Man City blanking in Game Week 30. So as it stands, there's only 3 fixtures guaranteed to go ahead in Game Week 30. So something to be conscious of, and we could have as many as 7 blanks, which means there's going to be loads more postponements and loads more double game weeks to come. Something to keep at the back of your heads, particularly if you've used your free hit already, because there's going to be so few fixtures in Game Week 30 that it would do you a favour to have it at the back of your head and even prepare for it now. For example, Arsenal don't blank in Game Week 30, and Saka, for example, or Tierney or Ramsdale all have a great looking double this game week. Philip says he's free hitting in Game Week 30 100%. Yeah, I may end up doing the same, I'm not sure yet, but I'm trying to keep my options open, if that makes sense. Did I say the FA Cup clashes with the FA Cup? You know what I meant. Game Week 30 clashes with the FA Cup. Or the other way around. If anyone's not in Discord, a link to that is in the description. In fact, I'll put it in the chat as well. We'll have a look at the captaincy poll results now. So if you haven't voted on the captain poll, make sure you do that. And join the link in the chat if you're not in our Discord. It's a genuinely good FPL resource, our Discord. We've got things like the price changes, we've got the lineups, we've got the live scores, we've got the live points, we've got the bonus points, we've got game week stats, we've got injury updates, top 10k stats, insider trading, news, basically everything you need here. And then of course, we've got the channels like chat, live match, rate my team, and we've also got pick alerts, so you can actually pick which alerts you want to receive. So if you wanted to get the price change alerts on your phone, then you could just click that and it will tag you and you'll get the alert on your phone every time the price changes happen, every night. So I've already voted on the captain poll. I went Salah, and the results are probably what we expected, but still unbelievable to look at because it's by far the most we've seen a player captained all season. Salah is first with 632 votes, followed by Trent, who has 89. Anyone in chat going for Trent captain or not? Jota's third, no, Robertson's third, 19 votes. Jota's fourth, 15 votes. 5 votes for Son, 4 for Kane, and 11 votes for other. Franz says, would you start Foden or Edouard? I think I'd start Edouard because he's got the double. Not ideal to be benching Foden though, I have to say. Start Brozier or Digne? I think I'd start Brozier. So I'm actually starting Brozier myself over Calvert-Lewin. There's not much between the two, but Brozier is a little bit higher on the predicted points. So for that reason, Brozier's getting the nod as it stands. Sheriff says, Kane and Saka versus Son and Saka. Laka. Kane and Saka or Son and Laka? Tricky one. I think I prefer the first option, just about. I don't think Lacazette's an outstanding FPL option. He's never really been a huge option this season, but we're looking at him because he's got the double. And obviously he's nailed his first choice, but he's not the sort of asset that blows you away. You know, he might get an assist here, might get a goal there. Whereas I like Saka more, and obviously Kane on penalty duties. I think him and Son are about equal in terms of as an option as an FPL asset, so I think I like the Kane option a bit more. Hope that helps. Phil says, sell DCL or keep? I think he's a sell. I can't sell him this week because I've got other moves to make, but I'm looking to sell him for Weghorst in Gameweek27, who has the double game week. Jota for Ward-Prowse, asks Claudius. I'm not sure about Ward-Prowse. He's been doing very well, but I don't know if I would be bringing someone in with a single game week this game week, if that makes sense. He could do very well, but I'd be looking at perhaps a double game week player as a priority. But yeah, there's very few options around that price range. Saka I think is a standout, but he does have the blank in 27, so it depends if you can rotate around Saka's blank or not. For those that tune in late to the stream, immediately after this stream finishes, the Roundup video for Gameweek26 will go live. I finished editing it and rendering it this morning, so that's going to go live straight after the stream finishes, so that's something to look forward to as well. So if you do watch that after the stream finishes, leave a comment and say I came from the stream. RH says Son or Saka. Son's definitely the better pick, but you're talking about two very different price points, but I'd go for Son if you have the choice. The Skip says, what are you doing with Jota? My current plan is Jota to Saka and Dawson to Van Dijk, so I can stay tripled up on Liverpool. And I get Saka, who I think is a decent option as well. Sponge says, you scared me, I thought I was missing the deadline. Yeah, no, the deadline's on Saturday, but I thought I'd do a stream tonight as well. The deadline streams are normally a bit, normally mayhem. There's just so much going on, and it's like, is there any early news? And it's more difficult to answer all the questions in chat. So I thought I'd do a stream tonight, and then of course the roundup comes out after this stream tomorrow, day off, and then Saturday morning we've got the big deadline stream. If everyone is enjoying this stream, please do hit a like on it. We've got 352 likes on it so far, so if you have enjoyed it and the content I've prepared for it, please do hit like on it. It's massively appreciated. It supports the channel, and it's free. Obrish says, start King or Watkins? King. Amir says, what are your current transfers with the Jota's injury? Oh yes, I'm going to go Jota to Saka, Dawson to Van Dijk as it stands, but that might change. There's a couple of different routes I'm considering. I'm considering a -8 as well, which would be Jota to Saka, Bruno to Son, Livramento to Robertson. But I'm actually not sure if that's even better or not, even though it is a even though it is Robertson, even though it is a -8. So what am I talking about? Because I'm worried Robertson might get benched for one game for Simicast. It may not happen, but I'm wondering if it does, and I think Van Dijk's a bit more nailed, so I'm considering Van Dijk and Saka for a -4, which I can just about afford. I'll have 0.1 in the bank, so I can afford a price range as well. Is anyone looking like rising tonight? Let's have a look. Bowen's at 97%, Salah's at 90.3. He has risen once already, but maybe he rises again. Certainly looks like he's rising before the deadline. No one else is really close. Reguilon looks like dropping. Ronaldo. Interesting. Jaden says Chelsea or Arsenal mids for Jota. I think it has to be Arsenal mids. It's really annoying that Martinelli got that suspension and then Arsenal blanked, which meant it carried over to this game, because I think Martinelli is such a great option. I'll certainly be considering him if Arsenal do get the double in 28. May not happen, but it's something that Ben Crellin speculated might happen, just based on the postponements that teams currently have and being in other competitions and whatnot. But we'll see, because it is a Champions League midweek that they'd be slotting it into if it was Gameweek 28. Tom Ryder says, thoughts on Mane captain as a differential? I don't think I would bet against Salah personally. It's such a huge risk. A couple of seasons ago, I went for triple captain Mane because Mane and Salah were that season a lot closer on their points, and Mane was on par with Salah for predicted points for that game week. So I thought this is an opportunity here because they're on par on predicted points. To be fair, we never know what could have been, because Mane went off injured after about 20 minutes in the first of the double and he missed the second. So I got 3 points from triple captain Mane, and Salah did pretty well, I recall. Praken says Jota and Dennis to Saka and Firmino for a -4. I love the Saka move. Firmino I'm not so keen on unless you plan to wildcard in Game Week 28, because Game Week 28 I imagine Jota's back and he could start that game. So it's a very short-term move. Firmino in isolation is a great option for the double, but it's easy to get baited in by double game weeks and make moves that aren't in our interest long-term. And likewise, it's easy to overlook players that we would like long-term, but we overlook them just because they don't have a double game week and never single. You know, like Bowen. If you don't have Bowen, he's still a great option, but we all get lured in by the double game weeks, and I think that's what Firmino is. Don't get me wrong, Firmino could smash it this double game week, but I think you have to plan long term with transfers as well. Again, like I say, unless you're looking to wildcard, that's when you can get away with making a very short term move, and I quite like to do that. If I've got a wildcard plan for the following game week, I'll sometimes consider a 1 week punt, because why not? Nihal says Jota, Antonio Gallagher to Mane, Weghorst and Ramsey for a -8. Again, I think Mane's a great option for the double, but Diaz was signed to compete with Mane, so I wonder if Diaz starts perhaps in the second of Liverpool's double, so Klopp rotates some players ahead of the League Cup final. We have to remember that the League Cup final is 4 days after the Leeds game. Let's just get the Liverpool fixtures up. Oh, you can't really see it. Or can you? Just about. So, yeah, they face Norwich this Saturday. And then on Wednesday, they have Leeds United. Arsenal game was postponed. That's why they blank. And on the 27th, 4 days later, Chelsea v Liverpool, League Cup final. A chance for Klopp to win some silverware. And the fixtures have fallen kindly because it's Leeds at home, which is a pretty decent fixture. It's not like he's playing, no disrespect to Leeds, but it's not like he's playing a team that he has to play a full strength 11 against, if that makes sense. So, Mane, again, he's in the same territory as Firmino for me. He's a great option in isolation for one game week. Perhaps not worth it if you're looking longer term. Something to bear in mind, but I don't hate the Mane transfer. James says, did I miss another message? Sorry, one sec, James. Let me get to the other ones first. Where did I get to? I got to Sean. Sean said, do you think Storm Eunice could affect the games? Is that what it's called? I had Storm Eunice. I honestly haven't been following Storm Eunice. The ramifications. Storm Eunice, red weather warning issued for parts of the UK. I don't know. I honestly hadn't crossed my mind. And it's really windy in South England where I am. I saw a video of someone's trampoline getting blown around to around the neighbourhood, but don't know. I honestly don't know what the likelihood of that is. Hopefully we've got a meteorologist, is it, in chat, who could tell us. We've seen it before, games getting postponed due to very bad weather. In fact, this season, Tottenham v Burnley, I think, was because of snow, right? Don't know on that one, though. Good question. Something to be mindful of. I'll have to look at which areas of the UK are red flagged. Got red flags on FPL, and we've got red flags in England counties. Ahmed says, I'm tripled up in Liverpool and I have Martinelli. Would you do Martinelli to Odegaard and Cornet for -4? No, I wouldn't. Watkins to Weghorst -4. Or just roll the transfer. I don't think I'd do the -4, if I'm totally honest. I think I'd leave it. You could bring a Weghorst in 27 instead, but I don't think I'd take a -4 for him this week, personally. Alex says, tempted by Cornet over Saka. Not really, to be honest. I'm looking at Weghorst. I think he's probably a better option than Cornet for the double in 27, so I'm looking at Weghorst more. I'm quite happy with my midfield, and I'm quite happy with the Saka pick if I do go down that route. And he's high on the predicted points, as we saw earlier. I mean, Weghorst doesn't actually make the list here for the top predicted points players. James says, thoughts on my free hit? Ramsdale, Tierney, Saiz, Trent, Robbo, Salah, Cornet, Son, Bowen, Saka, Weghorst, or Jimenez have 1 mil in the bank, is that? Or would you go for Kane? I mean, this graphic right here is a key one to be paying attention to, because this is the top predicted points for this game week. And Zaha actually makes this list, whereas Cornet doesn't. So you could consider Zaha over Cornet, in my opinion. And I think I'd be inclined to agree with that. Burnley is such a low-scoring team. They don't blow teams away, whereas Palace has it in them to score a few, and Zaha has it in him to haul. And Cornet's been getting brought off early as well, so I don't think I'd go for Cornet if I was on a free hit. I'd go for Zaha over him. Who else did you have? Son, Bowen, you got Saka, looks good. Jimenez or Weghorst. I think I'd go for Jimenez over the two. But if you can find a route to Kane, then I like Kane even more. But it's a good free hit draft. I don't really have any other suggestions. If you wanted to play a bit safer, you could go for Van Dijk over Robertson, but it depends. Do you guys think Tsimikas gets one game and Robertson's benched? I'd like to know what chat thinks. I think it's possible. I think it's very possible because Tsimikas is a very capable player and he's done well with the limited chances he's got this season. Where did I get to? I think I missed a message. Elliot Ball, thanks so much for becoming an fplfocal member as well. Appreciate that so much. If anyone's interested, fplfocal members get early access to my videos, and there's a private channel on the Discord where I give team feedback. So, well worth it. It costs like £2.99, and there's only one tier. It's not like one of those where you sign up for this tier, you get that, you pay extra for that. And it supports the channel. I'm a full-time YouTuber now, so I do genuinely appreciate the support for those who are members. But I also appreciate everyone for just being here as well. How corny was that? Chris asks, which two would you prioritise, Son, Tierney or Robertson? That's a tough one. Son, definitely. So it's between Tierney and Robertson. But again, it comes down to whether people think Tsimikas gets a game or not. I do think he might actually get the Leeds game, personally. So I actually like Van Dijk more if I was going to pick. But he is a bit of a lower point ceiling. He has some more points than Robertson this ceiling, but Robertson's played about 400 less minutes, I believe. But they have scored similarly in previous seasons as well. So Son, yes, and then it'd be between Van Dijk and Tierney, I think. Thanks again, Elliot. I think I'm caught up on chat. Rashad says, focal in caps. Hi. He says, Jota for Saka, De Gea for Ramsdale, and Reguilon for Robbo for a -8. Free hit in 27. Love from Trinidad. Jota for Saka, yeah, I like that. De Gea to Ramsdale, I like that. Reguilon to Robbo, I like that. 3 great moves. Again, you might want to consider Van Dijk over Robbo, but I think those are 3 excellent moves. Excellent moves. If I had Reguilon, I would be getting rid of him, definitely. Niall says, tempted to triple captain Mane for a differential. Anyone else using the chip? Anyone else in chat using triple captain or not? Let me know. I'm certainly going triple captain, and I've got it on Salah. I think Trent stands a good chance of doing extremely well in this double, but I don't know if I would be betting against Salah personally. But yeah, it depends on how your season's going, where your rank is, your risk tolerance, whether you're looking to consolidate or a ticket up the ranks. You know, if Trent outscores Salah and you triple captain Trent, you're absolutely laughing. You're going to fly up the ranks. But it's just so high risk to bet against Salah because his effective ownership will be over 200%. Mark my words. Manash says, Rangers are slapping Dortmund 4-1. Are you joking? 4-1? Unbelievable. Glad to see Rangers still doing well post Gerrard. Right. It's been a good hour stream. Loads covered in this stream. Once the stream wraps up, there's 2 things I'm going to do. The first is I'm going to publish the Roundup video for Gameweek 26. So give that a watch. It literally will be published the second this stream ends. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add timestamps for this stream for anyone that has tuned in late. But I think what we should do, become a bit of a tradition now, is we'll see if there's anyone who's live that we can raid. FPL Raptor is live. We could go raid FPL Raptor's stream. How about that? Really appreciate everyone that has tuned in so far. If you have enjoyed the stream, do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Let's find FPL Raptor's stream and perhaps we'll go raid him.
And they
there he
are
is.
playing Gameweek 30 for sure, confirmed.
I'm really looking forward to this Saturday actually. I'm going to an FPL meetup and FPL Raptor's going to be there. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. And I'm thinking about actually doing a stream at the meetup because there's going to be a few people like FPL Raptor, Mark Southerns, Az. So should I do a stream from the FPL meetup or not? Something I'm considering. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning into the stream. Do drop a like on the stream if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. FPL Raptors stream in the chat, so we'll head over there and we'll go raid him. Tell him FPL Focal sent you. That's it from me. Thanks again, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in. Focal out.